Hello everyone and welcome to class 11 biology. So today we are going to discuss from the third chapter that is plant kingdom. So in the earlier two sessions we discussed about the five kingdom classification and also detailed study of the first three divisions of the plant kingdom. Let us discuss on the remaining two divisions of plant kingdom, and these are gymnosperms and angiosperms. So first let us talk about gymnosperms. Gymnosperms includes a group of plant which produce seed, but the seed here is not covered. It is not enclosed in any covering, so they have a naked seed. So gymnos means naked and sperma means seed. Talking about its external morphological structure, these are usually evergreen trees or shrubs with a special adaptation towards xerophytic condition. So they are adapted to live in a dry condition. And the main plant body is sporophyte, and it is differentiated into root, stem and leaves. And the stems are usually erect and profusely branched, as in the case of Pinus, or it can be unbranched in the case of Cycas, and they are usually woody and tuberous as in the case of Zamia. So here you can see here the Pinus, it is branched here, you can see, and this is Cycas, it is unbranched here, and this is an example of Zamia. This is an Zamia where the stems are tuberous. And talking about the root system, the root is a tap root. They have a well-developed tap root, and the root in the gymnosperms, they live in association with other organisms. For example, in the case of Cycas, the root live in a symbiotic association with cyanobacteria, or we can call it as blue-green algae. And these cyanobacteria have the ability to fix atmospheric nitrogen. So they fix the atmospheric nitrogen, which in turn will help in increasing the fertility of the soil around the cycas trees. Okay, so such a root having an association with cyanobacteria are called as coralloid roots. Okay, so this you can see coralloid roots here, and these are usually found near the surface of the ground here. Now other type of plants like Pinus, they form association with that of fungus, and the first association of this fungus with the root, we term it as mycorrhiza. Again here the plant has a benefit, because since the fungus is all made up of hyphae are the thin thread-like structure which we have already studied, and this fungus have a larger surface area, and this larger surface area enable them to absorb the nutrients and moisture from the surrounding, and this in turn will give the water and nutrients to the plant, and plant in turn will give them the nutrients, that is sugar, to the fungus. So they live in a mutual, they have a mutual benefit. Okay, so the symbiotic association you can see. Now talking about the leaves are dimorphic, okay, so there are two types. The first one is foliage leaf, and the other type is scaly leaves. So here the foliage leaves, these are usually green. Here you can see this is foliage leaf, and this is also so they are green, and it can be simple, as you can see, it can be simple and needle shaped, as you can see here in the case of Pinus, or it can be compound, pinnately compound, as in the case of Cycas. So they are green and they are photosynthetic. Okay, so the other type of leaf is scale leaf or scaly leaves, and these are very minute and deciduous, they fall off easily. Okay, and then again the leaves are adapted to withstand very high extreme temperature. Okay, so they can withstand extreme temperature, they can withstand humidity and wind because of certain features. Like for example, in the case of Pinus, you find that the leaves are needle shaped, and this needle shape reduces the surface area. Okay, and other features you can find is the leaf has a thick cuticle covering. So on the surface of a leaf there is a cuticle, and this cuticle is very thick. Okay, this helps them to withstand the extreme temperature. And likewise the stomata, as you all know that stomata is the opening through which the plant trap, or you can say the collect carbon dioxide from the surrounding, and they release out oxygen. That is the site for exchange of gas, stomata. Okay, so in the case of these plants, the stomata are sunken so that they reduce the loss of water by transpiration. Okay, so transpiration, you know, it is the loss of water from the plant body in the form of water vapor, and plant body especially through the opening, that is stomata. So when the stomata opens, of course, there is the exchange of gas. Plant need carbon dioxide for photosynthesis, so there is exchange of gas. Okay, at the same time, they lose certain amount of water, and if the stomatas are sunken, okay, the percentage of water loss by transpiration is very less. Okay, now talking about reproduction. These plants are sporophytic plant body. Sporophytic plant body, they produce spores. Okay, so in earlier class we talked about, in the pteridophyte, we talked about they have a spores, okay, of same kind and spores of different kind. The spores of same kind are called as homosporous, and if it is of dissimilar kind, that we call it as heterosporous. Okay, so in the case of earlier category, that is pteridophyte, you can find both homosporous and heterospores, homospores and heterospores. But in the case of gymnosperm, all the plant present in the gymnosperm produce two kinds of spores. Okay, so the spores are heterosporous, that is they produce haploid, okay, megaspore, that is female spore, and haploid microspore. This megaspore will develop into female body, and microspore will develop into male gametophyte, we can say, male gametophyte. Megaspore will develop into female gametophyte, and the megaspore, the size of the megaspore is larger than that of microspore. Microspore will develop into male gametophyte, which in turn will produce male gametes. Now, where are these produced? Where are these megaspores and microspores produced? Megaspores and microspores are produced in a cone. So in the case of gymnosperm, they have a special structure called as cone. And this cone, how are they formed? So here in this picture, you can find, okay, so this you can see so many cones here, okay, and this is one such cone here. Cone is nothing but, again, here it acts as a reproductive structure, okay, and this cone, it has a number of modified leaf called as sporophylls. So sporophylls are the modified leaves, okay, which bear spores. So these sporophylls are arranged on the axis, arranged along the axis in a spiral way, okay, spirally. So the sporophylls are arranged spirally along an axis, and these form a compact structure that is called as strobili or cone. Okay, so in this cone, megaspore and microspores are produced. So as you know that the cone is composed of number of sporophylls, spore bearing leaves. Okay, sporophylls are nothing but these are the modified leaves which bears spores. Okay, so on the sporophyll there are number of sporangia. These leaf-like appendages you can see, this is the sporophyll, and then it contains number of sporangia, and in the sporangia then they produce spores. Okay, and this cone, the male cone and female cone, are present on the same tree like that of pinus, or they can be present on different trees like that of cycas. Here, so the plant, this is an example, okay, of dioecious gymnosperm. This is cycas, this is male cone, so this become a male tree, and this is female cone. Okay, so this is female, so the sex, okay, the sex organ are present on two different plants, two plants, okay, two different plants, two different individual plants, so they are dioecious. Okay, so they can be on the different plant body, or it can be on the same plant body like that of pinus. So in the case of pinus, the male cone and female cone are present on the same plant, and usually the male are on the lower side and the female are on the upper end of the plant body. Okay, so the plant having both the sex organ on the same plant, we call it as monoecious. And if the cones, male cone and female cone, are present on two different plants, we call them as dioecious plant. Now, talking about the male cone here, male cone are usually short-lived, and microsporangia are developed on the abaxial side of microsporophyll. Okay, and number of sporangia per microsporophyll varies. So here, okay, so these are number of male cone here, and this is one such male cone. As discussed here, this male cone or the cone has number of sporophyll. The sporophyll in the case of male cone, we call it as microsporophyll. So on the axis, you have so many leaf-like structure called as microsporophyll, and on each microsporophyll there are number of microsporangia. On each, this is one microsporophyll. Okay, so it is okay taken from here. So each microsporophyll has number of microsporangia, and this microsporangia contains microspore mother cell. Okay, microspore mother cell. So the plant body, as we have discussed, they are sporophyte and they are diploid. So diploid means in the plant body, of course, you know that it's made up of number of cells, and in the cell there is a nucleus, and in the nucleus there are chromosomes. So the chromosome can appear in pair, that is in two sets, or it can be one set. So if it is two sets, that is, okay, we call it as diploid. If it is single set, we call it as haploid. So the easiest example we can talk in human is, that is, gametes. Okay, gametes are haploid because it has a single set of chromosome. Like for example, in the case of egg and sperm, there are only 23 chromosomes. But if you talk about skin cell or chick cell, okay, these cells contain 23 pairs of chromosome. 23 pairs of chromosome. That means, okay, there are two sets. There are two 23 chromosome. So there are two sets, that is diploid. Okay, is it clear now? So diploid means having two sets. Haploid means only one set. Okay, so gymnosperm, the plant body is sporophyte. Okay, and they are diploid. So here, all the tissues over here must be diploid unless it undergoes meiosis. Now here, as we were discussing about this one, male cone, the male cone has number of microsporophyll, and microsporophyll contain number of microsporangia, and in each microsporangium we have microspore mother cell, which is again diploid. Till here everything is diploid, that is 2n. This microspore mother cell undergoes meiosis. So meiosis is a type of cell division where there is a reduction of chromosome number. So the 2n becomes n. So the diploid becomes haploid. So microspore mother cell undergoes meiosis to produce 4 microspore. Meiosis, we know that it results in the formation of 4 daughter cells. So there are 4 microspores, and each microspore undergo further division and development to produce male gametophyte. The male gametophyte in the gymnosperm here is pollen grain. The male gametophyte here is pollen grain. And here in this example, you can see that the pollen grain has wings. So you know the significance of this wings. Okay, that is, okay, it helps in pollination of this pollen grain. So this male gametophyte pollen grain is few-celled structure, okay, which is haploid. Okay, so this gametophyte here, they do not have independent existence. They are in the cones, which is on the sporophytic plant body. Now next is female cone. So again here the cone, female cone will bear megasporophyll. Female cone will bear megasporophyll, and this megasporophyll again are arranged on the axis. And here I have given the example, okay, picture of cycas here. This is female cone here, and these green structures are the ovules, and after fertilization it develops into seed. Okay, so this is female cone of cycas. This is also a female cone of cycas. So as discussed, in the cone there are number of sporophyll, And the sporophyll in the case of female cone, we call it as megasporophyll. Megasporophyll. And if you take out one such leaf from here, it will appear like this, megasporophyll. And this megasporophyll will have megasporangium. And in the megasporangium, there are megaspore mother cell. And this megaspore mother cell undergoes meiosis. Okay, and results in the formation of 4 megaspores. All the 4 megaspores are haploid because megaspore mother cell has undergone meiotic division. Okay, so these haploid megaspore, out of these 4, only 1 will be functional, 3 will degenerate. So only this functional megaspore will undergo further development to produce a multiple-celled or multicellular female gametophyte. Okay, female gametophyte, and which will contain 1 or 2 archegonia, and these archegonia are the female sex organ, and they contain eggs, that is female gamete. Okay, again here the female gametophyte do not have independent existence. They are on the main plant body, that is sporophyte. So gametophyte is dependent on the sporophyte. They are present on the sporophytic plant body. Okay. Now, once the male gametophyte, that is pollen grain, are released from microsporangium, they are carried away by various agencies, and one such is air current. Okay, and these are carried towards the ovules in the female cone, and then the process of fertilization begins. So after fertilization, zygote will develop. Okay, that is the fusion of male gamete and female gamete results in the formation of zygote here, and this zygote will develop into embryo, and ovule will develop into seeds, but the seeds are naked, they do not have any external covering. So let us look at the life cycle in the gymnosperm. So here, as discussed, so this is gymnosperm plant body, and they have shown the female cone and male cone here. Okay, so this female cone will bear number of megasporophyll, and on the megasporophyll there are megasporangium, that is ovule, and in the ovule there is a in the ovule there are what is that, megaspore mother cell, and megaspore mother cell undergoes meiosis to produce 4 cells, 4 megaspore. Out of that only 1 will be functional, and that functional megaspore will produce archegonium, or we can say female gametophyte. Okay, so they give rise to female gametophyte containing archegonium here. Okay, likewise same thing happens. Okay, that is gamete formation happens in the male cone. Okay, so male cone microsporangiate containing number of microsporophyll containing number of microspore mother cell. Microspore mother cell undergoes meiosis and produce 4 microspores. So here, unlike that of female microspore, that is female or megaspore, where 3 will degenerate and only 1 is functional, but in the case of male here, you can see all the 4 microspores are functional, and each one will develop into male gametophyte, that is pollen grain. And once these pollen grains are released from the plant, okay, and when they are transferred onto the female cone towards the mouth of the ovule, we call it as pollination. And this pollination will be followed by fertilization. Okay, so fertilization, here you can see from the mouth of this ovule, okay, the male gametophyte germinates here, producing a pollen tube carrying the sperm, and it will fuse with the egg, results in the formation of zygote here. So here okay, fine. So this zygote will undergo further cell division and differentiation to produce embryo. Okay, and that embryo is a part of a seed, and the ovule will develop into seed. Okay, and once they get a proper nutrition or proper substrate or the medium, they will germinate and give rise to whole body, or that is sporophytic body. Okay, so these are the things you find here. So this developing embryo, okay, is present in the seed, and seed is over here on the female cone, that is, okay, female cone. Okay, so this will develop seed here. Again, the seeds are with wings here in this case, and this winged seed has in dispersal of the seed. Okay, and this seed will have its own reserve nutrient here, reserve nutrient, and then covering that provide them the protection. And once it gets a proper medium, they will germinate to produce a whole body plant. Okay, so here you can find that if you, okay, so this is about the life cycle, and if you look at the chromosomal content, okay, so like as discussed, the sporophytic plant bodies are diploid. So till here it's all diploid, and once the cell starts to undergo meiosis, they produce haploid spores. So all the spores produced here, that is megaspore, microspore, pollen grain, and the archegonium, all are haploid. But during fertilization, the haploid male gamete and the haploid female gamete, they fuse together to form diploid zygote, and then they undergo mitosis to produce a diploid. So you can see that they have a diploid sporophytic generation and a haploid gametophytic generation. And this haploid gametophyte generation, haploid gametophyte generation, they do not have independent existence. Okay, that is one. So here pollen grain is shown with the wings, okay, which helps in pollination, and this pollen grain has produced the pollen tube, and this pollen tube produced two male gametes, and one of them fused with the egg, okay, fused with the egg to produce zygote. Now talking about the economic importance of gymnosperm. So this gymnosperm, okay, we can have various edible seeds from them. So here some examples you can see seeds, and then we can have okay, we can have prepare bread, and then again these are good source of timber, and this can be also used to make decorative items. And sago again is an edible obtained from various species or a genus of gymnosperm. And here again you can see this plant used in, okay, pencil, and then thuja used in okay, making incense, and then Canada balsam, okay, so the resin produced, okay, these are used in mounting the microscopic slide. And then these are some ornamental item prepared from obtained from the pinus. And then these different species again in the gymnosperm, okay, are used in paper making. And some more examples you can see gymnosperm, that is Zamia, Thuja, Photocarpus, Ginkgo biloba, Araucaria, and Pinus. Okay, so the division, the gymnosperm are further divided into conifers, cycads, ginkgoes, and cnidophytes. Okay, so that's all about gymnosperm. Okay, so gymnosperm includes a group of plants which produce seed producing plant, but the seed is naked, they are not enclosed. Before fertilization, that is ovule is not enclosed by ovary wall, and after fertilization ovule develop into seed, and seed is also not enclosed by any fruit wall.